Okay, now we go into part two of this guy who's trying to debunk me, and his part two of him trying to debunk the fact that I showed in incorrect data in what was shown in one of Jabari's videos, and even that I mentioned off the bat that I didn't want to do it to him because most of what he says is true. He's trying to relate that that's the way it used to be, and I go through a 45-minute video which he only got 4 minutes into or something in a whole first video set, and now he's only at 6. And so this guy is not very efficient, and I know that I interject a whole lot on videos and lengthen them out a lot, but it's because I'm not just going to go, yes, no, liar, yes, no. But, and I know I show things to people far too often and burn it in, but it's so that whenever that video is seen by a Negroid like this, that they can't say, oh, well, yip, because if you watch the whole thing. Now, I want to mention that even though he's 6 minutes into it, he hasn't listened to a complete sentence, over-talked through the whole thing, not even listened to Jabari's thing. I don't know if he watched the whole video even before he decided to try to do it or not. And he doesn't have a command of history or how it went in any way, shape, or form. All this area right here were all Caucasians, all the way through until the Islamic slave trade happened, and then a blend starts happening that changed North Africa forever and to this day. And demographics show that it radically has changed in the last 50 years or so. And from 1900s, all of Africa is multiplied incredibly. But of course, that 1900s is not 1900 BC, that's AD. And I'm talking about 1900 BC, 3000, 5000, back to humanity's begin. I'm not playing around with some idiot chip that he's trying to pull off here. Let's continue.
Yeah, everybody, it's Angel here. He's saying it's absolutely correct. There is nothing wrong with what he's saying here. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know where Neptunes Lagoon is seeing the wrong things. He's just making up things to, yeah, you know.
I don't know what he see. Well, Jabari acts like they've been there all along, and he's misleading black people with all these different things that he says, and he takes timelines out of context and everything, and doesn't mention the Islamic slave trade or everything, and the reason that blacks are even there in the first place, and it's real dissuasive. And then he tries to kind of insinuate that sub-Saharan Africans way down off the map here, starting out past the Sahara, that's all across here about as thick as you see it almost, and it's inhabitable region. But he tries to get them to believe that they were them and they were part of that history. And when you look into it in the Fulani and how they were going down and attacking and taking them out of central parts, and then other people coming around here with boats and yanking them out of there and stuff, this isn't a regal thing to claim. But it's funny. It's like we was our own slave masters and stuff. Then later they try to claim the Bible and say we were the Jewish slave masters, and all this gets disgusting. What they never claim is that, well, we were West African primitives, and we sure appreciate this opportunity, and I hope we don't mess it up. Wow, we're acting like fools. Should we quit?
The video is educational, but he's trying to debunk him with made up things, invented things by him. There was no Caucasian Egypt. There is a mixture of.
And so here's another sentence that he can't put together logic. There was no Caucasians in Egypt. And then he's going to say, well, yeah, there was Caucasians in Egypt. And if you were watching the first part, he said, well, oh, the first half of it was always was whites. He doesn't even say Caucasians. But then he says the other part was try to be Negroids. And I showed you reserve heads and stuff. And I didn't go into blue-eyed Egyptians. Might do it on this one. Let's go.
There is a mixture of Caucasians in Egypt because of the colonizations, but the original inhabitants of North Africa were not Caucasian.
Genetics, linguistics, craniometry, their hair, history, and everything about Earth denies you that fact. It's a jealous, disgusting lie. And whoever you are speaking, your ancestors were not a part of it. We was not Egyptians.
That was proved but a lot of scientists that proved that Iberoamericans were not related to Iberoamericans were the native North Africans. They were not.
Yeah, they were native North African Caucasians and Iberomauritanians and the Maghreb area people, and then the Mecatoids and the people that are all Caucasian types, and then the people of the Natufians that he's going to try to mention that were out here and doing their thing that come off into Egypt and hit that river and come up the river and meet the Badarians and the people that end up making proto-dynastic Egypt, and it doesn't have any Negroids to do with it. In fact, they hate them and they're vile Negro-troglodytes. And what is he going to try to say?
Related to Caucasians at all. They were not related to Europeans. They were not related to you. And also,
none of them are sub-Saharan Negroids. Please stop. It's disgusting. To try to defray from the fact that none of them have to do with sub-Saharan Negroids that are claiming this, which i.e. is your part of your admix that you're doing, is disgusting and a lie.
And also a part of their heritage were Natufians. Natufians are E1B Afro group, and they are not. An E1B Afro group is an East African Afro group. It's a Horn of Africa Afro group.
No, it's not a Horn of Africa group. It shows up being started out of Asia and deviated out of Asia, and this is one of the things they've clearly noted as being a back to Africa. What's that back to Africa? Back to Africa Caucasians. Because that E line runs all the way up into other people too, and it shows connections of these Caucasians, and it's a foolish idiot Negro that tries to lie like this and expects others to be so stupid that they might go for it and think that a guy that's speaking the way that he is would have any freaking clue whatsoever.
Like I said, there is no Caucasus in there.
There is no Caucasus in there. There is no sub-Saharan Negroids in there. This is the point. But what's sad about it is Caucasoid early hunter-gatherers. Yeah, there's some of that in there. Yeah, this and Caucasians. Yeah, and you admit it, and you even called them white. But you only want to admit the bottom half in one part. Then you want to say no. Then you want to say yeah. Then you want to say white. Then you said there were no Negroids in North Africa, but they weren't Caucasians, like we're thinking. Well, no, not what you're thinking. We're thinking Caucasian in a correct term. You're thinking, oh, it was a Nordic people. And they might have connections to Nordics, but they're not Nordics come down. Vikings didn't invade that part. We're not saying that. Although a lot of people have made that conjecture that a group had come from early Britain area and come down into the pillars and then wiped across and tried to take everybody out. And they had that Amazonian thing going on and tattoos and hook up to the Celts and stuff, and it makes a huge connection when you start making that one. The connection you can't make is sub-Saharan Negroids into any of these populations or the Bible.
That map that was just there, if I can just go back to it. Oh, you can see some of these North African people. Do you think they're Caucasian or Negroid?
Just real quick before he even tries to do it on this. So he tries to say that, yeah, she's Caucasian, but she isn't white, and I don't know what you would call her skin tone if you had any sense to yourself, unless you were just trying to lie, covet, and bear false witness. But then this girl here, and that doesn't really show in tripled video over, but they're green, but I mention it. Hers are just kind of blotted out, and you can't really tell. Looks like they may be dark blue, but it doesn't look like they're brown. They don't have that thing to them, but you can't tell at all, and I couldn't tell. But this is a Caucasian with some admix, and this is a Caucasian. He tries to say this is a Negro with a little admix, and this is a Negro with a little less. She has green eyes. It's pathetic what he tries to pull off. This one also looks a little more Arabic, doesn't she? But which one of them look like a Negroid? No, the Negro princess isn't here. Here's the Caucasian princess and the princess from Aladdin, and there's a reason for that.
Well, what you're going to see here is a major Caucasian very little, if any,
A major Caucasian is probably a descendant of Caucasians, of Arab Caucasians that are very different from white Europeans. They have a different DNA, but
The one that he's trying to talk about is the endemic and the Amazigh people, and you can see their European features. And I'm sorry, I've got already stopped it to where I have my thing right over her mouth, but yeah.
their facial characteristics are the same because they are Caucasians, but they are not white. They are not related to Europeans.
I don't care if you think they're Nordics or not, idiot Negro. And what would you call that? Green? Purple?
And this girl here is probably mixed, is probably or probably a native North African, like all North Africans look like.
So admix is native for there weren't no I stupid and I can't cognate.
And probably also mixed with Caucasian and Negroid. So
you get an admixed Arab that has some Negro in him, green eyes. This is mulatto, probably some 30% black. That's all it is out of it.
And 30% black anyway is still black.
And getting 30% admix from a Negroid would say that they were not Negroids and now they have some admix. Yip, that non-cognitive brain cell.
They saw that later. They started saying people are smoking in that area, but that's because of what happened then. Go back 1,000 years before the Islamic slave trade, which started 900 years before the Americas were even found. Didn't realize it's totally different.
Many different ethnic or tribal groups in North Africa, such as Berber, or more correctly, even.
Now he flashes by these pictures and I try to stop him, I can't. Then he freaks out on the fact that I even try to go back to a picture or talk about it, he's going too fast when he's got me sped up. You think that I was bad talking fast on coffee that morning, now he's got me yipping.
Or Ambassador Touré.
And I'm sorry, guys, but he flashes by. He likes to flash by these pictures.
Kadana, Sahaja, Zanaga, Huara, Kabiles, Mosul.
He doesn't like to flash like his picture. These are the Berbers that are today. There are some Berbers mixed with Caucasian, like this.
In a long way after he just said this is some Berber Caucasians mixed with Caucasians, and you see it right here. In a minute he tries to call this little girl a Negro. He's going to flip-flop in between there though, and you'll watch the fish on the hot pan flip around and make a fool of himself.
The little girl, and there are other Berbers that are native Africans or Negroids. That's
a lie.
Composition of North Africa. There's no Caucasus in there. And to claim that even Negroid-looking people here in this video are Caucasian is completely ironic.
It's not ironic, you're an idiot. I'm not saying that the admixed people are Caucasians. I'm telling you that these are Caucasians, and you just said a minute ago, there's no Caucasian in there. That's a Caucasian you're looking at, and you're just like, duh. It's pathetic Gimp. It's straightforward, duh. And you're trying to make some kind of connection and and it just doesn't. It's terrible. You think you're making big cognitive jumps and leaps here, and what you're really doing to anybody that sees this is you're trying to claim that these people that have admix now and some admix Negroid population in them used to all be Negroids, and it flips the other way, and you're an idiot.
Considering that if that you will call them the N-word, I guess there will still be black bastards like you will try to.
So now, if you'll remember, in the very first of these, he actually blurted out the N-word. Now I've come to realize that he's not even an admix, but he's a Negroid. And so it's funny that he feels like he can't say the word, and he tried to giggle that I try to say the N-word. I say Negroids, and they freak out on it and say that, oh, you can't use that anymore, it's racist. And I'm going to giggle at a Negroid. Yeah, because that's exactly nomenclature, and it isn't going to change anytime soon. Africa's named after Caucasian people, and it's not going to change anytime soon. And yip, that idiot mouth. But I don't take crap off people, and I'm tired of stupid crap like this, and people that think they have an IQ and something to say come on and just limp lamely. And that's just people that try to post. Now, this guy tried to make a video and he gimp lip lames through this whole thing. And it's disgusting.
You would like to call them. So I don't think if in America they will be considered Caucasians anyway.
Tell me what you would consider that person in America. Idiot Negro. On your screen right now, if they'd say, hey, little kids that are all in here, there's a Caucasian in red hair, red suit, looking all dressed up, Indian and stuff, kind of neato. Can you figure out which one I'm talking about? Now, if you said, do you think or not that girl over there that's dressed up and all that Amazai looking garb, is she a Caucasian or is she a Negro? And this shows your brain cells don't snap correctly, and it's not your Caucasian admix that's the problem.
They will be considered Negroes. So, try to claim that they are Caucasians, but we all know that you will not treat the people as the same as white, pale people.
When we see the admix from North Africa, we'd be like, wow, y'all got together and that's probably a product of the slave trade that happened up there and everything. That's radically different than these primitive sub-Saharan Negroids. You've had about 1,000 years more domestication and westernization that's going on, but you weren't the big yip, and you weren't destined to be the spacemen. You were not part of the Bible. You weren't part of Egypt in any bit whatsoever, and you were the slaves of the people that did do something in North Africa, and it's pathetic that you sit and lie and make noises like you do.
That's completely false, and you don't even believe that.
Ruffian, and there's many, many more, and I'm pretty sure I butchered all their names. Anyway.
I think you did better than I would have, Adam, but okay. It doesn't.
Actually, he says their names. He cuts me apart here, but he says all their names, and I say, man, I think you probably less butchered their names than I do. Looking at this girl right now, I know everybody here watching, if you're in North America, would say this girl is Mexican. And she's probably part Indian. If she said she was an Indian, you'd say, yeah, but you've got some Mexican Spanish or something in you, don't you? But you'd go with that too. But how many would say that she's a Negroid? And how many would say, oh, she's mostly a Negroid. She might have a little admix when you're seeing her straight long hair and her phenotype?
Matter. So you look at this girl here. Is she a Negro? Or is she a Caucasian? Or is she a Caucasian with admix?
Probably mixed with Caucasian, 15%. It depends. It really depends on what type of Berberish.
15%. Negroids in America are 22 to 30% on an average. Some of them are 18, blah, blah, blah. But it's really uniform, and it shows you the truth of what really happened that made that. But so almost twice the amount that he's giving, or twice the amount that he's giving, and you can definitely tell they're still basically, unless the admix shows up and girl, you got that good hair, that they don't have that effect, and they don't like it if they have darkness too and Negro phenotype anymore. They're forced to be around the Caucasians, and they don't like themselves anymore. They should have gone back, and they should do it now that they've at least been educated, and try to do something. This is the year of return, and Wakanda came out and everything. I mean, you know, try to do something, but instead this was wheeze and crime, and it's gone crazy, and blaming whites for every shortcoming that they have, and it's gotten pathetic. And that's really what I'm addressing in the video, and you don't have a clue.
She is. If she is Fulani, she is L1B B88, which is an Back to Africa Afro group.
Back to Africa Caucasian. Funny you mentioned that again. And then Fulani, who were part of the people that were snatching and grabbing them primitive Central Caucasians.
Africans that
Negroids.
migrated into Caucasus and they returned to Africa. So my guess is that she's probably mixed with 15% Caucasians, a 30% of L1B V88 Alpha group, and the other part Negroid, probably Sub-Saharan Africa.
So she somehow is 45% Caucasian mix and 55% Negroid. That's what he's guessing. So you can guess that he's a Negroid trying to pull that crap off rather than saying she might have 15% Negroid in her. Let's go on. Watch Gimp limp here a little more.
Right.
My apologies. Many North Africans state that they don't connect with race, but instead identify with their culture or their religion as well as their ethnic group.
Many black people have adopted other cultures and other religions because theirs was a primitive, witch doctor run, tribal, illiterate culture, and when they got taken into the more advanced cultures here,
Many black people adopted other cultures, maybe because, for example, the Empire of Ghana traded with Muslims, so they adopted Muslim culture in respect. That was
Which is an Abrahamic religion, and in America, most of them, some of them are Islamic and things, and they've tried to go on the Farrakhan and stuff like that or whatever, but regardless of anything, so that's a Caucasian religion. This is a Caucasian religion, and they've gone to worshiping Caucasian gods. Now, those are, of course, Caucasian gods because in that religion of Caucasians, the god would look as themselves, and since they developed the religion, somebody jealously later wouldn't try to say that they're dark brown or that they had other effects and try to make it a mix between themselves somehow jealously, would they? Oh yes, they would. Watch him. Hey, what do you think? Is this lady got some admix, or is he gonna act like she's all Negroid and maybe has some white admix or Caucasian? Oh, I'm sorry, I said white again. Caucasian.
typical during ancient times to trade and adopt the religion of the other. That happened even during, even in Europe, that happened. For example,
You don't have to give a good example to me, but maybe you would to the black people that don't watch my other videos, for I show ancient connections that go all the way from Ireland through the Celts, all the way through Proto-Indo-European lands, into China, into India, and I connect the religions and everything and show they have connections to ancient belief systems that all work off of one. And Sub-Saharan Negroids didn't even know any of this how existed and what it had to do with. And of course, there's no Negroids in the Bible. And oh, he got cursed for seeing his daddy's ding ding on Noah. No, oh, that's a sad joke. Who would he marry? He would be a mulatto. And who would that marry? No, there isn't. No, it doesn't know. Hamites, look it up. It's a division of the Caucasian race. So what we have is nobody has really adopted voodoo and trying to be primitive witch doctors and believe in somebody shaking around some stuff and making a cannibalistic potion and you had to do yip yip. But it still goes on in Africa today, for they kill their own albinos and or take their limbs off, and there's kids that have been caught, and it's disgusting in Tanzania and a lot of places, and they have to protect them now. Yeah, because white skin is magical, see. Yeah, that's something that you can see reflected whenever the missionaries tried to go and help them and what had happened to a lot of them. But that's another embarrassing story too.
Arians adopted Christianity for not forget support of the church, of the Catholic Church.
So it's not your religion at all, and you were forced into it. It's not part of it, but you were forced into it. Say that.
And we didn't adopt these cultures because we want to. We did adopt these cultures because at the time we were conquered. We were colonized by Europeans, and Africans were forced to be part of that culture.
You were forced to, and you were primitives, and these people were so much more advanced than you, there was nothing you could do, and you were forced to.
It's not because we wanted to be part of that savage European culture.
But now they want to claim it and say we was. Isn't that pathetic? Well, is there anything better? No, they can't come up with anything better. Now Caucasians are spacemen, zoom, zoom, and this looks pretty pathetic because there's a people that looks like they're still living back in that time trying to justify something that never happened back then, and still to this day we have this problem that's really about equivalent, and they've got new clothes on, and it's not because of lack of Caucasian empathy, compassion, and assistance and help, education, medication, and giving so much and sharing so much with them. What have they done in return but be a burden and now talk crap and cause crime and try to justify it in some way? It's disgusting and pitiful, but that's about what you get out of them because of people like this and their mentality.
Writing, like the Amazigh and stuff, and these people, they much rather prefer their culture. You can see that easily with the black Americans now, totally having adopted the Caucasian God of the Bible that never had anything to do with Negroids. It doesn't mention them. They always try to, yeah. There's even black Hebrew Israelites who stand around the street corners and yell at white people and say they aren't part of the Bible. The Bible.
Black Hebrew Israelites are not even Afrocentrists. They are directly people obsessed with Israelites. But
Obsessed with the Bible, and they're called Negrocentrics, and they also try to do an Afrocentricism. But what's hilarious to watch is that they know the Bible so much, they know enough about it that they say the Egyptians were Caucasians and y'all are lying. All you black people, you need to get with us. See, because they is king. And so you need to get with us. And they actually debunk the Egyptian thing just as good as I could. It's hilarious. And like Hamitic response, he really wanted that to happen so bad and talk about Egyptians that he debunks the Bible thing. So you have that version too. So now all you do is just play these two videos back to back and go, you weren't either one. Please stop this. But so this is just jealousy and an inferiority complex gripping out, and basically every word out of his mouth is where he can't let a single complete sentence go across without jumping in the middle of it and trying to discredit it without even letting its words ring out. It's pathetic.
Anyway, you're saying here that that God is Caucasian. God is not a race for the start.
So now that you've adopted it, you want to take away his initial race and blaspheme his image like it says exactly not to, and try to mix like I was saying a minute ago, and that's disgusting, and watch him try to do it. For it says clearly, now Jesus was a Nazarite, right? And he's also a Gala priest. He's Galatian. Gala, okay, so Gala means milk. And there's a statement in the Bible that's clearly denotes these people. For Adamic means pale and blushing, but let's just go with after that. For her Nazarites are pure as snow. They are as pale as milk, with the blushing of rubies. And he's a Nazarite. Now, Nazarites used to grow out their hair in homage when they were growing up, kind of like the sidelock idea. And whenever they become sexually active, they chop off their hair. And this is shown in the strange story of Samson and Delilah, and a lot of people don't get it, but I've done a video or two about it. And that's also the reason Jesus would have had his long flowing chestnut with blondish highlights that is described by a few people. I've got a video about that coming out too, where I was just going to try to say exactly what it says, and instead I go off on a rant all the time like I do.
And also, the Christian religion started. One of the first places where Christian religion started was Ethiopia. So
Ethiopia was one of the first non-Christian, non-Caucasian groups to adopt the Bible. Armenians were first. The Bible comes from the Sumerian idea, being between the Tigris and Euphrates. Sumerians are run by a Caucasian group. They have blue eyes in all their statues and lapis lazuli. This hooks up to Egypt and all of the Fertile Crescent, and it doesn't hook up to sub-Saharan Negroids, and it's sad that they try this. And you know it, and you admit it kind of, because Was King is a joke. But then even the unjoke lies that you're trying to pull off are a joke, and you flip-flop. Ping pong.
it's not a Caucasian religion only.
It always was a Caucasian religion. We allow other people to adopt into it, and you can be a Chinese, Eskimo, or whatever, but it was not your Bible, and everybody understands that. The only ones that act idiots and covet the Bible like you're not supposed to, lie, and then bear false witness and everything else that it says not to, are Negroids. And it clearly says, hey, don't ever believe anything that these idiots that would do like this say. And they're saying, oh, look, what does it say? Make an idiot of yourself is A, B, C, D. Oh, we do all those. Do them, do them, do them.
Jesus was a Caucasian, but he wasn't white like you will define him. He was a
No, you're trying to define white. I'm telling you that the people lived in that area would get a tan if they were out in the sun a lot, but they say Jesus didn't. And because he's priests, and so this is that symbology thing where somebody looks kind of tan or red ochre if they're farmers or they're workers and serfs and class. But if they're an upper class or merchants or something and were able to stay indoors and things and covered quite often, they would stay very pale. And look how pale this lady is living in North Africa. It's sad, but black people in America say, you couldn't even live there. You can't stand the sun. And it's like, look at these people that are there now. Look at the ones that are there now. How about the Hyksos, Greeks, Romans, everything? Oh, shut up, Whitey. I'm gonna make a fool of myself. You're a cave ape. Really? Man.
really dark skinned. He wasn't white. He wasn't even related to Europeans.
Yeah, Gala and Galatians and everything in the Bible corresponds, and Jesus foretells somebody coming and the temple being destructed and the abomination of destruction and the fact that a man's going to ride in a white horse instead of a donkey, like what's told in all the way through. And it happens exactly 40 years, like he says, a generation right there at the Mount of Olives. In 40 years from 33 AD is 73 AD, and this is the fall of Jerusalem. And who rides in on the white horse and everything with his 4-horse chariots and 4 horsemen? But Titus, and this leads into the Roman Catholic Church and the Caesars and its lineage that goes through the Flavians and on through, who the last of the Flavians actually deify the Bible and make it the world religion of all these people. But it actually, everything that's having to do with it attaches all the way in Europe, all the way from the Celts all the way through, and the storm gods and things and Saturn worship and stuff that all goes quite clearly together, and seasonal worship and things that all went with zodiacal and farming type things, and none of that has to do with Negroids. And it's sad but true.
Probably the DNA of Jesus was related more to Semites that are Caucasians but are very different from other Caucasians.
So Jesus wasn't Caucasian, but he was Caucasian, but he was Caucasian, but he was different than other Caucasians. Well, he was the God, but his head and his hair were white, like wool. His head and his hair. His head and his hair were white like wool. Well, his feet were dark. Oh, do you step in mud? Bronze in a furnace is white hot. It's sad. All this has been debunked. Every single notion of it whatsoever, but still trying to put yourself into places. Oh, and then they weren't. And trying to take it from the ones who were. And it clearly kind of comes out that way, for lo and behold, all the philosophy of the Greeks get put into that ideal, carried through the Romans. Then we have Elizabethan England, and people get a little too purist, but Isaac Newton and the things that happened and the finding of a new world and finally breaking free from the strains that religion had put on society and made America and made the rest of the world change. And I don't know if you know or not, I mention it sometimes, but we can fly now. I swear you can see YouTube videos on it. It's amazing, like birds. We can metal birds and fly right over. And then those Khoisan people, like on Are the Gods Crazy, are like, what? And they covet, and it becomes a cargo cult of we, and no, it's not true.
It's all Negroes. It's pretty hilarious, and by hilarious I mean disgusting, racist, and pitiful. But let's continue.
Oh, the irony here. He's claiming we are the racists.
Yep, it's racist to claim other societies and then turn around and discredit the Amazigh and the Berber people. And no, I'm not a Amazigh or Berber. It's disgusting that you do it to them. If you were trying to claim Chinese society, I would make a debunk video where you're an idiot and a liar. If you were trying to claim that we was Aborigine Australians, and then then I would debunk that and show you genetics, and now everybody else says you're a liar. And so that's the way it goes on. And it's being done, and it's very racist, and you maybe not be aware of what you're fueling with your stupid video, But in America, they hop up and down and we was king and then go out and beat up white people and stuff. And they try to, justify them and their actions now and everything. And, oh, it's all about slavery and stuff and just anything and pity victim. And see, pity victim, now I'm going to riot and beat things up and do things and cause crime and stuff. And it's frustration from the reality of what it is to even the lie they're trying to hold on to.
History, I guess history is racist now. Genetics is racist.
Yeah, history and genetics is racist. Before sub-Saharan Negroids and really Negroids were primitives, and the ones that are trying to hop this were the most primitive people we've ever found on the planet, really a pre-Stone Age level people, and now they want to claim they were part of things they didn't even know that existed. And so if you want to go with that, then it's racist, but that would only come out the mouth of somebody who was whining for the fact that everything is racist. You can fly now, air is racist. You can do math now, brains is racist. You can go to space, the universe is racist. And it's a pity party and it should stop. For we've done so much to help you. Quit blaming the crap against the people who've done.
Science is racist.
Yep.
So everything is racist. We are racist here.
Because that's the new keyword. They've used it up and it's really gotten old and disgusting and stuff, and people now see through it, and the Jesse Smolletts and the way that they try to act, and now it's starting to get racism back on them due to their lies and their racist actions, and then they try to act like they can't be racist. And that's why he feels like he's justified here in trying to giggle at the fact that I point out how racist it is.
You are telling the truth?
Here. Caucasian or Negro?
Well, probably, yeah, greatly at mix with Caucasians, but not a Caucasian. She's probably...
She may be admixed a Caucasian, but she not a Caucasian. She, I brains got, I'm going to watch me try to say something. I try to,
Also very native North Africans. And native
Caucasian.
North Africans came from the Horn of Africa. After
oh, you're trying to make believe now that nobody was there and African Horners came to an empty land around the Mediterranean. Hey, wow, that's weird. This is a sea that's been around that we've already found people around for 315,000 years right here in front of you at Jebel Irhoud. Homo sapiens, 315,000 years, and that whole idea about only East Africa now has been totally changed. So you're on an old debunked thing, because even older than that, even right there at North Africa. And now it kind of changes that whole Gimp limp.
the whole out of Africa thing.
Those girls that he flashed past when he's saying all those names, they're black and white, but it is black and there's white and there's black and white. The thing is you can find those white are hooked up to endemic people from all times that have been there, and another group that came in like 12,000 BC, way the hell back when, before civilization. And
where there were more migrations of sub-Saharan Africans.
Yeah, there was more immigrations than sub-Saharan Africans. I just want a key point that he said that, but then of course the sub-Saharan African thing is hellishly late too, and we all realize that totally. But he tries to what's this Gimp limp?
DNA tests in Spain proved that there were sub-Saharan Africans in Spain 4,000 years BC. So
4,000 BC sub-Saharan Negroids in Spain. I want to see that. Somebody attach that shit down here. Me and Phoenician 7 will get down to the bottom of it and be truthful about what he's trying to say.
Not only the Bantu expansion, but other migrations of sub-Saharan Africans.
Oh, all these that you're talking about now happen late as hell. I want to hear about this 4,000 BC lie. But anyhow, are you gonna? Oh, is it cheddar? We was cheddars? How pathetic.
Sub-Saharan Africans were in Spain before. That's why Spaniards are very admixed with sub-Saharan Africans.
Spanish don't show that in their DNA at all. But you know what? They got mixed with some of those Islamic Moors that came in that are Caucasians. And some of them, by the time they were doing this, had already had some admixed to them, it seems. But you can tell if you look at any of their artwork that they themselves did, they've got redhead beards and things, and you'd be surprised to know that in reality Muhammad's beard was red.
Okay, so we will stop here. And I will do a third part that will be much larger. This guy is a joke. Come on.
So he's going to do a third part too, so I can't wait for it. He says it's going to be even larger, even though now he's done 9 minutes of a 45-minute video, and he's really proven nothing and contradicted himself 7 times that I can demark. He's also said no, they weren't sub-Saharan Negroids, but they weren't Caucasians. Well, yeah, they were Caucasians, but they weren't white like you think of. And I'm like, no, not like you think of. I know what I'm saying when I say Caucasians. So go ahead and hang yourself. And then he goes, but they were Negroids. And I go like, can you make that? We saw that happen over and over again. But giggle poot. It's amazing. I cut in my stuff quite often, and I know that that's bad. I do it a little too much. And I'd almost like to watch him say the whole phrase, stop it, and then pick it apart back, but then that would just extend videos. But this guy can't let a sentence go, and it's amazing. He spent 2 45-minute videos, and he's 9 minutes in and hasn't made a coherent, true statement yet. Anyhow, guys, like, share, and subscribe, and enjoy, and I'm waiting on that part 3. But in the meantime, he's got 6 other videos. That's all he's ever made. And I'm going to debunk every damn one of them, because one of them he's trying to say a super Egyptian, that he debunked him in something. So we're going to get all over that. And he shows a blue-eyed statue of the earliest Egyptians, and that's very revealing. But let's see what he tries to lie about that one too. Anyhow, guys, put some comments down below. Peace.